Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Blogging for Freedom TV. I'm really excited about today's episode. We have someone who I really admire. I've just gotten connected to her, actually, and she's got a really amazing story. We'll be introducing her in a moment. But first, I just want to, again, welcome you to Blogging for Freedom TV. We air every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And really the purpose of our show is to, introduce you to rising stars, people in the blog, that are using this platform we call a blog to, share their unique passions, their vision, their talents on a platform that can literally reach the world as a way to create personal and financial freedom, so that you can actually spend more time with your family, spend more time doing what you love. And just to give you a little bit of my background, it wasn't long ago that I was working in corporate America, and kind of in a place where I just realized, like, even though by a lot of people's standards that were in my life, like my family, the friends I had, it may have looked like I was doing well because I had a job that paid well and all this. I was actually really miserable inside. I'd get up some days in the morning and just be staring at the ceiling, and it would be really hard for me to even get out of bed. And this was my routine. Like, I'd get up and I'd go to work, and I'd go through these paces, the same paces every day, that would get me a paycheck, but were slowly just draining the energy out of me. And so I made a decision just a couple of years ago that I was going to find a way to get out of that situation and create the freedom in my life that I knew I deserved, and that would allow me to pursue my passion, which is traveling. It just so happens too that my wife, when I have conversations with her now about it, and she looks back, I mean, she can recall even as a kid how she always wanted to travel. She always viewed herself as being someone, or had these dreams of traveling the world. And we just, we both just made this conscious decision that we were going to do whatever it took to empower our vision, which was to travel the world on a permanent basis. And then we got connected to a community. We started using a system. We started blogging. And over a period now of about 2 years, we've been able to build an audience. We've been able to build a successful business. And we have created the freedom to travel the world. And we've now been doing that for 16 months. We've been to Costa Rica. We've been to Europe. We've been all over. And we're really excited now because we're building this audience, and we're empowering others to reach their own, whatever your version is of freedom. The system, the platform that we share with you enables you to achieve whatever your version of freedom is. So I just wanted to give you a little bit about my story. I want to quickly introduce my co-host, David Book. David, why don't you tell a little bit about your story, and then we'll get into the interview with Alesha.
All right, sounds good, Adam. So what I wanted to say was that when I found Adam a little over a year ago, and when I found blogging and the powerful business that you can create from blogging, I was at my rock bottom point. I was at the point where I really didn't have much left to lose. I was out of a job. I was at the end of a really bad gambling addiction, and I just really didn't know what else to do. So I was out there looking for an opportunity, something that I could put my time and effort into that would pay me back better than just trading my time at a 9-to-5 job. And I found Adam at that rock bottom point, and it was really important for me to be able to see what Adam and Kristen were doing with their traveling, being able to leave their corporate jobs and really pursue their dreams. And it showed me that it was possible, to be able to go after your dreams without having to work your 9-to-5 job, being able to have that freedom. And Adam, I just want to say I really appreciate you for being you, man, because if you weren't you, I wouldn't be me, and we wouldn't be doing this Blogging for Freedom TV thing. So thank you very much.
You just as much too, David. I really appreciate you too. Thank you for those kind words.
It's been an awesome journey, man. And so that can lead us right into Alesha. This is Alesha Drew. We have her on the show here today. And Alesha, from what it sounds like, has had a similar rock bottom experience. And the last couple weeks for me have been like a rock bottom themed. I've been writing blog posts about rock bottom and listening to other people give their rock bottom story. So I want to give Alesha a chance to come out here and tell her inspiring story to you guys. And and maybe tell a little bit about her rock bottom point and how she got out of it. So Alesha, you take the stage here and tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, thanks guys. First of all, I want to thank you guys for having me on today. It's really an honor to be here with you both. You know, two very inspiring leaders within our community. So yeah, it's really awesome. And my story, you know, I used to think that I didn't have a story. That's what's so funny about it. I didn't have one of those, you know, typical rock bottom stories that we hear about. You know, I wasn't homeless, I wasn't taking drugs, I wasn't an alcoholic, I didn't have anything that happened in my life that was negative, that was bad, that was heartbreaking like so many people do. So for a while, I didn't even think that I had a story, and it took me a while to figure out that I did. And it was because of the education within this community that made me realize that I really did have a story. I grew up in a really great family that was always very supportive of what I did and always wanted me to go after my dreams. And which is what I did. I mean, I'm a professional dancer, and I've been dancing since the age of 3 years old. And it was always my dream to travel the world and perform in shows. And that's exactly what I did. I stuck to my dream, I was consistent about it, and I made it happen. And for those of you out there that might be entertainers or performers or athletes or any type of skill like that, you know that you have to be consistent with it, and you have to take action, and you have to be willing to be rejected over and over and over and over and over again to get to where you want to be, which is exactly the same case within our community here. If you want to achieve success, you have to be consistent with it. And so I've been traveling the world doing shows for many, many years, and I ended up in Las Vegas, and I worked in Las Vegas in the shows for over 4 years. We actually live out in Bay Area, California now. And I got to a point where my partner John Paul and I, we were running one night. It was a really hot night in Vegas, and the summers are so hot there that you can't run during the day. So we were always out at nighttime. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my ankle just gave way. We were on a road, it wasn't very lit, and the ground was kind of, you know, not very level. And all of a sudden, my ankle just slipped out from underneath me, and I fell to the ground. And in that moment, I realized that something had to change. And of course, it happened at the worst possible time. We were about to go into new rehearsals for a brand new show. And all of a sudden, I realized I have to do the show. I can't afford not to do the show. You know, I don't have the money not to do the show. So what did I do? I, you know, iced myself up, I strapped myself up, and luckily I was working with a group of people that were really supportive and understanding. And I limped and hobbled through rehearsals. And, you know, it was the mental pain of that was far worse than the physical pain of what I was going through. And then when it came to actually opening night and getting on that stage, there were so many things that I had to look out for because I shouldn't have been up there. You know, with the injury that I had, I sprained my ankle really, really badly, and I shouldn't have been up there. And there's so many things to look out for when you're on stage. You know, the lighting, the sets, you know, one wrong move and I could have injured it, you know, a zillion times worse. And I realized, what am I doing? You know, how have I gotten to this point in my life where my dream, you know, had turned into a nightmare? How did I get to that point? You know, I'm doing what I love to do. I always have. But it's not really getting me to where I want to be in my life. And I really had to sit down and have a hard look at that and say, look, something has to change. I can't keep doing this forever. You know, what happens the next time I get injured? What's going to happen next time? You know, so, and my partner John Paul had actually gotten within our community a few months earlier, and I hadn't really taken a look at it. And I suddenly realized, okay, something has to change. I have to make this decision right now. I need to find something that I can do that's going to bring me the lifestyle that I want. And so I took a look at what he was doing, and I dived into the education, and I discovered this community of like-minded people. And I discovered, you know, that the educational products that we have, and you can actually live your dream. You can actually believe in something and make it happen. and I've never looked back since. I mean, I still dance part-time, and this is something I also do part-time. Sometimes it's full-time, but I'm able to have the best of both worlds. So that's pretty much my story in a nutshell, I guess.
Awesome, yeah, that's a great story, and I think it does kind of illustrate a rock bottom point, you know, where you had to make a decision, you know, can I keep doing this full time and be able to afford not to work, right? That had to have been a huge decision for you. So
yeah,
I think it's gonna be really valuable for the people out there just to see another point of view. You know, maybe you're maybe you guys out there are somebody that does, you know, manual labor or some kind of profession where you have to use your body to make money. You know, maybe it's time to start thinking about, hey, you know, when I'm 40, 50 years old and my body's not able to do the work that brings me in money, then what am I going to do? It might be smart to think about that ahead of time, right?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a really scary thought. When you actually sit down and think about that, most people don't want to, especially performers and people that use their bodies. They just won't think about it. They don't want to think about what's going to happen next. And then if you don't think about it, you know, you're just going to land back at rock bottom again. It's a really scary thought. So.
Right.
Yeah, you know what, your point too, it makes me think too, just in general, about how many people in their day-to-day lives, you go through life thinking everything's okay, but I think a lot of people aren't aware of just how delicate of a situation they're in until something, you know, devastating happens. And so I'm sure, you know, so many people can relate to that. I know even, you know, for much of my life after college, when I was first getting started out, I spent a lot of money. I was kind of more or less just going paycheck to paycheck, not really aware all the time of how you know, tenuous of a situation that can be, and you know, where something can happen. There's just so many things that can happen in your life that you realize you aren't prepared for after they happen. But it's just really powerful, you know, that you know, you had this moment, and it was that catalyst for you to change, right, and to give yourself, you know, get access to a platform that could help you create the security and the freedom that you were desiring.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, I was just fascinated when I came into this world. You know, I didn't have any previous sales experience or marketing experience. You know, I was pretty good on a computer doing general things. But when I came in and started plugging into everything that we have to offer here, I was just amazed and so inspired, and I never looked back from day one. It was just really awesome. So
that's awesome.
Mhm.
I got another question for you here, Alesha. So it's about blogging in general, and I just kind of want to know how you felt when you started blogging, when you first got in there, and you know, what kind of obstacles did you come across? Did you have problems, you know, formatting your blog? Did you have problems coming up with things to write? What were some of the top hurdles that you had to overcome in order to get your blog up and running and to be able to get the success as you've had so far?
Yeah, it's funny because I think back to my first blog post, you know, a little over 2 years ago now, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I look at where I am now and I compare the two, and it's just unbelievable, the progress. I can see, you know, the transformation between the blog posts, which is really awesome to take a look at. You know, I started blogging like straight away when I got into the system, not really knowing what I was doing, but I always knew that I had to be consistent with it to make it work. And I really want to press this point today. I'm all about consistency in anything that I do in life. You know, we can flip-float into anything that we do, but if we're not consistent with it, we're not going to get the results that we want. And I quickly learnt that. So I progressed over time, and, you know, eventually, you know, I'm at the point now where I'm getting, you know, over 1,000 visitors to my blog per day. And that is through free strategies. That's not even paid strategies. And I'm building myself a loyal following of people, and I'm solving people's problems, and I'm giving people value. And I think that's what people need to really remember when they're creating content. And how am I able to create this content is by, you know, educating myself constantly within my specified niche. You know, you have to be willing to learn how to learn. If you're not willing to do that, you're not going to be able to create content every single day. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're not going to be able to do that. So those were the things that I from the get-go, I realized, and over time, educating myself on how to blog and different blogging strategies, I'm able to get where I am today. Awesome,
Adam. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I love the point you brought up too about niching, because I know, when I observe so many people, just in this community even, or that I come across that are blogging, and they don't have an audience. They don't know who they're actually trying to reach, who they're trying to serve. And I think that's actually the single most, it's like the hurdle that it seems like the more than anything else, it's what prevents people from actually having their first breakthrough, because this is a lesson in marketing, but it's a lesson in life too. I forget where I heard it first, but it was, the idea that if you're trying to please everyone, you please nobody. And when it comes to blogging, when it comes to marketing, it doesn't even matter. It's not just blogging. Any form of marketing. If you're not speaking directly to an audience, to a very specific niche, you're not going to resonate with anyone. So the way you get traction with your blog, and I'm really, really glad you brought that up, Alesha, because I think that that's something that everybody, if you're blogging, you can't figure out why you're not getting results. Look at that. Look at, do you have they call it an avatar, your target market, your customer avatar, which is like your perfect customer. You should have a very clear understanding of who that person is, and that's who you want to blog to. That's who you want to market to. You want to solve that person's problems. So yeah, niching is just it's the one thing I just feel like so many people kind of ignore, and they might just dive into blogging. Have you had in your experience, just with the people, maybe on your team and in your community, have you seen that too?
Yeah, I definitely have. I'm glad that you brought that up, because sometimes I'll go to people's blogs and then I might check out something else that they've done, and I'm like, whoa, this is a completely different topic. And it kind of blows me away a little bit. I get a little bit confused, and then you start looking around and they've got different subjects all over the place. And, you don't want to confuse your readers, your followers, and more importantly, you don't want to confuse Google either. We want Google to be our best friend, and if you confuse Google, you're not going to rank on the search engines. And if you confuse your readers, you're not going to have any readers for very long. So you want to make sure that whatever it is you're passionate about, and if you think that you're not passionate about anything, start learning something and blog about what you're learning about each day. There's got to be something in your life that you are passionate about and you want to learn, and that's what you blog about, and you stick to that subject, you stick to that topic. So yeah, it's a very important point with blogging. So.
And how cool is that we can take something we're passionate about and turn it into a livelihood? I mean, that's got to be the most empowering thing you can think of, right? I mean, and just so those of you that are watching this understand, like how you might be thinking, well, what if my passion is something like dogs? How can I make money from that? Well, the idea is that if you're passionate about dogs and you start to share your passion for dogs, for example, on your blog, what you can do is you can start to attract dog lovers, right? Other people who share that same passion. And what you're essentially building with a blog is like, think of a blog like your own television show or your own platform. You're literally building this audience. And once you have an audience, basically an audience is what's foundational to creating an income. If you have an audience, and let's say they're all dog lovers, there's a lot of different ways you can monetize that with your blog. And I'm not going to go into detail on that, but just to help you understand, it really doesn't matter what you're passionate about. That's what's great about blogging, is we really do give you a platform. A blog really is a platform for you to share your passion, build an audience, and from that audience, be able to create an income. So it's really, really awesome.
Yeah, it definitely is. And another thing I love about blogging is once we create the content, it's out there indefinitely. That's what I love about a blog. It's you create the content once, and it can keep paying you over and over and over again. So I mean, I can't think of anywhere else that you can do that. It's just amazing. And really, if you don't have a blog, you don't have a home online. You are homeless. You have to have a place. You need to have a home. So And it is a long-term strategy as well. I just want to point that out. A lot of people will come inside our community and they might blog, for a few days or a few weeks or a few months even, and nothing's happening, and they're monitoring their success on how much money they've made. And that's not what it's about, especially at the very beginning. It's all about you creating the content, you learning, educating yourself, making the videos, creating the content, solving people's problems. You have to figure that part out first, and we'll never guarantee any type of income, but I can promise you that if you are consistent over a period of time, you will start to see results. And that could be in a year, it could be in 5 years, it could be, you never know, everybody's learning curve is different, but it is a long-term strategy. So I wanted to point that out as well, because there's so many people that, they dictate their success by the money, and that's not what it's about here. It's about who you become in the process.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I did when I first got started blogging. Like I wasn't consistent. I would do little spurts. I'd do like 9 blog posts in a row, and then I'd lose my focus, and I wouldn't post for maybe like 3 weeks, and then I'd do another little spurt of action, and then so my readers really didn't know like when I was going to be there, when I was going to have new content, and I think that was a pretty big problem. And if you're not looking long term, like you said, and you're not looking for that 5 or 10 year plan, then you're probably going to quit right away because you don't see the results that you think you should be getting. If you don't give it that time, then you're going to be in trouble. And you got to think about it this way: like, you have a dream, you have a big goal, some place that you want to get to in your life. If you're willing to do what it takes, then it's not really going to matter how long it takes to get there, right? If you're determined and you're going to do the work every day to get to that dream, then it doesn't matter, right? And that's the difference, I think, between a blogger who's just really not serious and just kind of using it as a hobby, as opposed to the blogger who's a serious entrepreneur who wants to build a long-term business. And so the question that I came up with while you were talking was about consistency, really, Alesha. And I wanted to know, how often do you blog, and what is your kind of daily routine that you go through to get that content out to people? That's something that I struggle with, getting that consistent routine down. Maybe you have some insights for us.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wasn't blogging every single day when I first started within this community. I was kind of on and off with it. I wasn't really that consistent. And ever since New Year's Eve of 2014, a little over 3 months ago now, I made a decision to start blogging every single day. And I have not missed a day since New Year's Eve. So that's around 90 days right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, and because of that, I have just seen, I've seen my visitors, my traffic just literally skyrocket. I went from, I think it was around like 100 visitors a day back then when I wasn't blogging consistently, and now, I'm over 1,000 per day. So, and wow. I know it was because I was consistent. I'm blogging every single day, but I'm not just blogging. I'm blogging about what I'm passionate about within our community here, and I'm actually giving value, because you can blog every single day, but if your content sucks, no one wants to read it, and you're probably not solving anybody's problem, and they won't come back for more. So you have to make sure that what you're providing is actually quality, and it's solving people's problems, and they want to come back for more. And because I'm consistent every single day, I hold myself accountable, and within our community it's great because we have 21-day blogging challenges where we can hold each other accountable for those that have a little more trouble with it. But I'm the person that will get up and do what I have to do. And that's what I do every day. I'll get up and, I'll probably, check my emails and messages and things like that. And then I'll write my blog post, and then I will syndicate it out. And we also have syndication groups within our community as well, which also holds you accountable. And I want to make sure people realize that you need to spend more time on the syndication than the actual blog post. Now, this is a big one that I discovered, and we might spend sometimes 4 or 5 hours making this beautiful blog post, and then we'll post it on Facebook, and we think we're done, and we're wondering why nobody's seeing it. And for those of you out there that don't know what syndication is, that's us getting our content out there on the web, getting eyeballs on our stuff through different social media platforms, YouTube, all those kinds of things, which is free, which is great. and you want to make sure that you have the syndication out there for your post once you post it, because if you've got some amazing content and nobody's looking at it, it's pointless even being there. So that's pretty much what I will do every single day is, you know, blog, syndicate, and then syndicate out in our groups. And, you know, I do it consistently every single day, and I can see the results. I can see what's happening, which is, you know, which is really awesome. And it just proves that blogging every day does work. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Do you get some of your traffic from SEO as well, or does most of your traffic come from your like social syndication?
You're stealing my questions, Adam. Stop it.
No, it came to my head, so I had to ask it.
Yeah, most of mine comes from my social media platforms. I have dived into a little bit of SEO, but I haven't gone into it too much. But yeah, majority of it is coming from social media, and I'm finding now that I'm building an audience that people are coming back on their own to see what I'm creating because they know I'm creating something every day. So I've seen it build over time, which is really great.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was about to ask the same question, just a little differently. I did notice on your blog that you have maybe a little widget on the right-hand side that tells you where people come from, like where your visitors come from.
Uh-huh.
And I noticed that you have, like, almost all of them are from Stumble Upon.
Yeah.
And I haven't even, like, I maybe have posted a few links to there, but it's not something that's in my daily routine, so I don't get to it. Maybe you could talk a little bit about Stumble Upon and how you're getting that traffic. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I was going to say that's one of my biggest social media platforms is Stumble Upon. I've had an account with them for a while now, and when I started blogging every single day, I really saw my traffic skyrocket, and I'm just using the free version. I know that you can pay for ads on Stumbled Upon as well, I think, but I'm just using the regular free version, and it's a bookmarking site is what it is. And I basically just go in there and I post my article with my relevant keywords and my description, and I post it in the relevant category, and that's it. I click and it's out there, and it's such a powerful platform that a lot of people I don't think realize how powerful it is. And so if you don't have an account with Stumbled Upon, I would definitely get one and start posting your content as well. Yeah.
Do you find that certain types of content works better on a platform like that than others? Just out of curiosity, if you've noticed that.
Not really. It's pretty much been consistent. I guess because I'm consistent with the same types of subjects that I'm blogging about. You know, every now and again I'll see one particular post that just skyrockets. I think I saw one the other day that it had like something ridiculous, like 13,000 views on the one post, and I was like, wow. You know, and I don't know, I guess one person sees it and it just rolls off and it becomes viral every now and again. So, but yeah, it's pretty consistent, that platform. I mean, I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just uploading my stuff and getting it out there, and I guess Stumbled Upon really likes what I'm creating, you know, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Last question for you, Alesha. It's a question that I ask all of our guests, and the question is, who has been one of your most powerful mentors that has been able to help you move toward the success that you've had, and how were they able to help you?
Wow. Yeah, I guess since coming into this community, I would have to say that it's David Wood, our founder. You know, when I first plugged into this community and I started watching his videos and listening to him speak and telling his story, I was completely inspired, and it started to transform my life. And I believed, you know, I always believed in my dreams, but I never really believed that I could achieve a certain income. It always seemed out of reach. And when I heard David Wood speak and tell his story and what's possible, it really instilled a belief in me from the beginning that I too could have the life that I truly wanted, just as he could. And what I love about him is that he believes in every single person. You know, he believes that everybody can succeed no matter where they've come from or where they've been. And that truly inspired me, and he truly inspires me to this very day. And, you know, there's a difference between believing something and knowing something. And you can believe all day long that something can work, but when you know it's going to work for you, that's when it becomes really, really powerful. And David Wood will help you to get clear on your vision and why it is that you're doing what you're doing. And that's what he did for me, and that's what really inspired me. I mean, I could talk all day about how inspirational he is, but he really helped me get clear on my why, and that's what's going to keep you going in this business every single day. You know, as we say, if your why doesn't make you cry, your why's not big enough. And if you know you're going to achieve success, you may not know when that's going to happen, but as we say, we do it until. You know, how long is it going to take? Until. We can't give you a time frame, but it will happen as long as you're consistent. And that's what I've learned from David Wood. So he would be my biggest mentor above anybody else, I would say. Definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, he's mine too. He's a great guy. You know, there's something about the way that he can show you how your mind works. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but like he gives you the ability to have a clear vision, like he said, and being able to have that and being able to look into the long term, like we've been talking about, you know, for most of the episode, stay consistent, keep your head in the long term, and just keep pumping out that work. You know, keep doing the blog posts, keep doing your syndication, keep doing the things that are going to make you money and the things that are going to get you closer to your dreams. And that's what Dave Wood's all about, and that's why I love him so much too. So that was a great answer.
Yeah,
I think that's going to do it for us here. Did you have something else to add there, Alesha?
Yeah, I was just going to say that it's just magical when he speaks. You know, I get goosebumps when I hear him speak. There's just something magical about him and, you know, what he's created and what he can instill in people. And as you mentioned, you know, the way that our minds work, we've learnt so much from him in regards to that. It's just a small shift in the mind that can completely change your perception on things and how much you're capable of. And, you know, in closing, you know, I'd just like to say that, you know, there are two types of courage when we get into this business. There's the courage to get started, and then there's the courage to never quit. You know, so many people get started, they've got that courage, they get going, but then they quit. You've got to have the courage to keep going. I mean, it takes no guts to be a skeptic. We can all be skeptical and we can all be critical, but it takes guts to put yourself on the line every single day and keep going. You have to be gutsy and you have to be courageous. That's just it.
Yeah. You know, no matter if it takes you 10 years to get your goal or not, the question is, are you going to do whatever it takes to get there? That's the real question.
Yep.
So, Adam, that's all I have, man. We'll send back over to you and let you put your last thoughts in there.
Yeah, and Alesha, you have just given so much gold on this. I think about the emphasis here on this being a long-term deal. And I think about, like, you know, with so many people when they're in a place where they're maybe in a job that they hate, but they're going because there is a level of certainty that people have when they go to a job. They know, I mean, at least to a degree, when you go to the job, you go every day because you know there's a paycheck waiting for you in 2 weeks. And the difference, though, with blogging is, you know, part of what's enabled me to, you know, you're with the three of us here that are on this broadcast right now. We've been in this. We've had the courage to get started. We've had the courage to stick with it. I've been in this business now for 3 years. Alesha's been in for a long time. Dave has as well. And part of it is reframing, you know, how you look at the results you're getting. Like when I started blogging, you know, one of the biggest breakthroughs I had was starting to look at my results differently. And as Alesha and David both said, we're not in this, not about the money. It's about serving people, providing value. And what happens when you start to do that is you see results, and they may not necessarily be showing up in your bank account right away, but they're showing up as traffic. You know, when I saw for the first time that I got visitors to my site, it was a huge breakthrough, and I felt amazing. And then once I crossed, you know, a plateau, I got more than 100 visitors in one day. I felt amazing. The first time I made a sale, I felt amazing. The first time I had a $1,000 day, I felt amazing. But you start to kind of reframe the way you look at the results you're getting. And it's really important that you acknowledge every small success along the way. And like we've been saying, this is a long-term deal. You have to stay committed to it. to ultimately reach your goals. But this is a platform that can absolutely enable you to reach whatever it is that is your big vision and your dream. So I just want to thank you for all for coming to and attending the show today. Alesha, I do want to ask you one more thing. Where can people find you?
People can find me. My blog is aleshadrew.com, ALESHADREW.com, or they can find me on Facebook as well. Facebook.com. What is it? Facebook.com/Alesha Drew 1. There's a 1 on the end for some reason. Somebody else had taken my name. So.
Dang it, I hate it when that happens.
Yeah. So yeah, on Facebook, I'm all over Facebook, and on my blog, that's the best ways to reach me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us tonight, Alesha. And to everyone watching, thank you again for attending Blogging for Freedom TV. We're on every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. We look forward to seeing you on the next show. Have a great day.
See you guys.
Bye.